everyone. Happy Wednesday. I just was feeling like I wanted to talk to you all for a minute because, boy, Southern California is on fire and there is so much crazy stuff going on in the world. And I have been thinking about how we find places of light, places of hope when things seem so out of control. And many of you know that I just came back from a trip to Iceland with my family. And part of our preparation to go there was to come to terms with the fact that Iceland has about 4 hours of daylight a day at this time of year. And for someone who grew up in Texas, that is a lot of adjustment to make. I'm used to having that daylight and being able to soak in that vitamin D. And so getting ready to think about being in a place with so much darkness in each day was an adjustment, especially for a vacation when we were wanting to go out and do things. But one of the things I realized when I went there is that you may have 4 hours of actual daylight a day, but there's a lot more light that happens on the edges of sunrise and sunset. And I even went down a rabbit hole of learning the different kinds of twilight. There are actually 3 different kinds of twilight. There's a time of twilight where the sun hasn't come up or it's already gone down, but it's still right below the horizon and you can still see the things around you. You don't need as much artificial light. There's still places that you can see without a lot of artificial illumination. And then there's a time when the sun sinks a little bit lower, but you can still see the horizon, and that's called nautical twilight. You can start to see a little bit of stars and things like that. And then there's the next level, which is called astronomical twilight, which is where you can't see the horizon anymore, but you can see large bodies in the sky, moon, stars, planets, things like that. And it got me to thinking about how we find places of light, places of illumination when things feel really hard, as they do for a lot of people right now. And I think many of us would like kind of the illumination that comes when, it's the middle of summer and the sunlight is directly overhead, but that's doesn't feel like where we are right now. It feels like the sun is low in the sky, and maybe we don't get as much brightness as we would like, as much as we are craving. But there is still light to see by. And maybe if you're going through a difficult time or you feel the world going through difficult times right now, we may be looking for the light that's like the civil twilight, which isn't direct illumination of the sun shining on our face, but there may be enough where we can just see a little bit. We can still maneuver and make our way around. Or maybe we're in nautical twilight, which is that moment when we can still see the horizon. We can still see that we're going somewhere. We can see the destination, even though it's maybe full of a little bit of gloom and not as bright as we would hope it would be, but we know where we're headed. And then there's that astronomical twilight where the sun is sinking even lower below the horizon and we can't see the horizon anymore, but we can see the moon, we can see some stars, we can be looking. And that takes a little more discipline to find those places of light when the sun is sinking even lower in the horizon. And then there are times when it is just night. And that was something that we experienced when we would wake up in the morning and it was 8, 7, 7:30, 8, even 9 or 9:30, and it is still dark. And so we had a decision to make. Do we just venture out into the darkness knowing that the sun will rise and we will face the day and have a wonderful adventure? Or is our body telling us, what, it's dark and it feels like let's just hunker down and have a quiet morning? And I think that's something we also need to do in this time. There are times when we need to kind of suit up, get out there, do what is ours to do, and then other times we need to listen to our bodies and say, you know what, this is time to rest. This is time to regroup. And if we're going to make it through this difficult time that is so harrowing for so many of us, I think that's the way we need to think about the light right now. It's not going to be full on overhead. It's going to be just along the horizon and maybe just not as many hours of it as we would like. And so, for those who are in that phase, in that moment where it feels like Maybe you just came off a holiday season that had an asterisk next to it. It was fun but there was someone missing, or there was just an unsettled feeling, or you're dealing with grief, or maybe it wasn't joyful at all, or maybe you're moving into this year with a lot of trepidation, as so many of us are. And I guess what I want to say to you is I'm looking for the light, and I think you're looking for the light as well. And we're going to do this together. We're going to get through this together. Um, Clinging to what we value, what we care about, one another, and also looking for the light that isn't going to be maybe what we expect and hope, but it might be enough to see by, whether it's a couple of stars or just the barest trace of a horizon, or maybe even a little bit more. And maybe we're yearning for that moment when the sun is going to pop up above the horizon and light our way. So wherever you are in that state of twilight or light or the dead of night, know that we're in this together, and we will get through this the best that we can. So those are my thoughts for a Wednesday. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon.